The Germans recognized the criticality of stopping Allied photo reconnaissance planes gathering intelligence over sensitive areas. Since the standard German Air Force fighters struggled to match the USAAF F-5's reconnaissance plane speed, they vectored Me-262 jet interceptors to attack these planes. The intent of this video is to review 4 case studies where F-5 reconnaissance planes and their P-38 escorts were engaged by Me-262 jet fighters. The basis of this video will be these case study jet encounters from this declassified December 31st, 1944 Air Intelligence Weekly Summary document. These reports detail encounters between P-38s of the 15th Air Force Fighter Command and Me-262 jets. It is desired that these combat narrations be reviewed by pilots, combat crewmen, intelligence officers to become familiar with engagements, the jet's features, characteristics, tactics, capabilities, weaknesses, and proven countermeasures. As we walk through these combat narrations, we will hop out of the document, explain a concept, and hop back to the narration as needed for clarifications. This video is a good follow-on topic from the channel's previous videos where we addressed Me-262's armor, Me-262 versus Mustangs, and Me-262s versus bombers. These videos are in the channel's created Me-262s playlist. Key takeaways from these videos are listed in this chart. The Me-262s pilot is well armored from front and rear attacks. No side armor though. Speed is 100 miles per hour faster than Allied fighters. Inability to dive beyond angles of 30 degrees. A wide turning radius at any altitude. Slow acceleration. Couple minutes to reach maximum speed. The jet's closing speed made accurate gunnery difficult. The Me-262's Mk-108 30mm autocannons were designed for bomber engagements, not fighters. The Allied fighter's 50 caliber machine gun is far superior than the 30mm autocannon in air-to-air fighter engagements. Most of the encounters occurred during Me-262's interception during a Photo-Recon sortie, where the jets engaged with both Photo-Recon F5s and its P-38 fighter escorts. P-38s were designed as a fighter, like seen in this image. The Lightning was armed with 4 M2 50 caliber machine guns and a single 20mm autocannon. These guns, ammo boxes, chutes, and belts were in the plane's nose section. The F5 Photo-Recon variant of the P-38 incorporated a modified nose section which replaced these armaments with 3 to 5 cameras. The P-38 F5 variant with cameras. Once back to base, the film can be developed for intelligence evaluation. The Germans were well aware of the value of these photographic intelligence flights, as discussed on this page from a 1945 15th Air Force Photo Reconnaissance Summary document. The Axis tried to intercept these planes and or shoot them down with AA fire. Since the F-5s were fast, German propeller planes would struggle to catch them. They were rarely sent to intercept. Starting in November 1944, the Germans sent the Me-262s to intercept the F-5 Photo Recon planes. The Me-262s were around 100 miles per hour faster than the F-5s. To counter this jet threat, F-5s needed an armed escort when the Photo Recon target was within range of a jet base. Me-262 counter tactics were discussed with fighter pilots. The escort fighters were placed close to the F-5s. They all flew in a tight formation. When under attack, the F-5 flew like a fighter, maintained its current altitude, and turned inside the jet. This allowed the escorts to engage the Me-262. This tactic takes into account the Me-262's weakness, the inability to maneuver in a tight turn, and requires the Me-262 to fire inaccurate high deflection shots. Most of the jet attacks occurred from the 6 o'clock high direction, although on December 9, 1944, one attacked from the 12 o'clock low direction. These engagement reports back up the premise that the Me-262 cannot turn inside our fighters, and their speed is around 500 miles per hour. This chart from a 1945 P-38 pilot training manual outlines the P-38's maximum speed to avoid compressibility effects. This tabular data represents the maximum indicated in true airspeeds where compressibility effects occur based on altitude. As the plane approaches these speeds, the plane becomes nose-heavy, elevator control forces increase, buffet loads and vibrations are felt. If this continues, structural failure may occur. Photo-Recon missions take place in this speed-altitude zone. The maximum P-38 dive speed equates to around 450 miles per hour true airspeed. Typically, these maximum fighter speed altitude limits are represented in the pilot manual in a dive limit speed chart, like seen here. If the minimum 180-degree turn path radius of the Me-262 is represented by this image, then the P-38s can turn inside this radius. This may allow the P-38s to get off a deflection shot if we can account for the correct lead. In this combat narration, two Me-262s attacked a P-38 escorted F-5 photo-recon plane over Munich, Germany on December 12, 1944. This map shows the state of Reich-occupied territories as of December 15, 1944 from a World War II atlas. Munich, Germany is here. The photo-recon planes and escorts were stationed in southern Italy. They targeted the F-5 Photo-Recon plane at an altitude of 25,000 feet, coming in from the rear high direction. The F-5 maneuvered to be sandwiched within and slightly below the escorts. The jets attacked head-on and passing below the formation. Head-on attacks are tricky. Although there is little to no deflection, the closing speeds could be in excess of 800 miles per hour in an engagement like this. The F-5 was instructed to fly close to the escorts and follow their lead. The jet circled back and attacked the formation from the 3 o'clock level direction. Beam attacks are the least accurate as the attacker needs to account for the proper lead deflection and the target speed. The formation turned into the jets. The jets broke off the attack without firing. They left the area. While heading home, another jet attacked the formation passing below. A P-38 gave chase, turning inside the jet's turn radius and opened fire. He opened fire at 600 yards while the jet was at a 20-degree angle off. This page from a 1943 RAF Air Ministry document on fighter gunsight usage defines the term angle off. The gunsight deflection needed is dependent on the angle off and target speed, where angle off is the angle between your sighting line and the target's line of flight. The jet's 20-degree angle off orientation would be best represented by these images. The P-38 pilot fired on the rear of the jet when it was at a 20-degree angle off orientation. The jet was well outside the P-38's effective range of 400 yards, but he continued to fire as the jet decreased its angle off from 20 degrees to directly behind the jet at 0 degrees. There was no way he could close the range, though. The jet then started a wide turn, which bled off some speed. The jet's acceleration was not as fast as the P-38's. Even still, the P-38 could not close the range. Lessons learned from this encounter: allow the jet to get within 600 yards, then turn into the jet. The jet will only be able to shoot an inaccurate 90-degree high deflection shot to a high closing speed head-on pass. In a turning dogfight, the P-38 has the advantage due to its ability to turn inside the jet. That way, the jet must sacrifice his main advantage, speed. This encounter took place over Munich on December 9, 1944. 4 P-38 armed fighters were escorting an F-5 photo-recon plane. An Me-262 jet was spotted, heading towards the formation from the 130 direction. The formation held its course with the intent to make a prearranged break to the left when he would be just outside his effective range. The jet's speed was misjudged, as the jet opened fire on the formation within its effective range while the formation was halfway through the maneuver. A P-38 tried but could not get a shot on the jet. He struggled to track him with the fighter's gun sight. The attack occurred at altitudes between 20 and 23,000 feet. Engagement observations: the jets are fast. The jet's contrails are similar to a piston-powered aircraft. The jets accelerated just prior to the attack. The pilot was not aggressive. Another photo-recon jet encounter occurred near Munich on December 15, 1944. Two Me-262s were vectoring to the formation from the 9 o'clock low direction and attacked the formation from the beam side. One P-38 turned and returned fire into the jet side, following to a position behind the jet. An attacker has the best chance when in a position to the rear of the target, as there is little to no deflection to account for, and the closing speeds are manageable. The jet rolled down into a diving split S. The P-38 returned to the formation, as it would be hopeless to follow. During the same December 15, 1944 mission, a P-38 rolled over to chase an Me-262 using full RPM and manifold pressure. The Lightning fired from 30 to 60 degrees but observed no strikes. He broke off that engagement and turned towards another jet heading towards the sun. This jet made a head-on pass. Both planes, playing chicken, were firing. The jet passed 50 feet above the P-38. The jet's right wing was emitting white smoke. Me-262s made a total of 29 attacks on escorted Photo-Recon F5 missions from November 12, 1944 through April 4, 1945. The Me-262s were credited with shooting down a single F5 during these encounters. The escorts were credited with one Me-262 destroyed, one probably destroyed, and multiple damaged. The value provided by the Photo-Recon team to the Allies far exceeds the cost incurred. If you have found these P-38 versus Me-262 combat engagement case study reviews informative, please consider supporting the channel by liking, commenting, and/or subscribing to World War II U.S. Bombers.